live.
All right. Hello and happy Friday, and welcome to the Back Catalog Listening Party. My name is Mother Banjo, one of your hosts.
My name is Anthony Ihrig, the other host.
And today we have joining us Annie Mack, all the way from Rochester, Minnesota.
Hey, hey. Oh, wow, there's applause. That's awesome. I love that.
Well, we are so excited to have you with us today, Annie. And looks like Connie's joining us from Richfield. Hi, Connie. If
Connie.
you're out there listening, feel free to chime in on the comments and let us know where you're tuned in from today. And again, it's Friday. We do this every week where we invite different guest artists to talk about old records and have a drink together and enjoy some music. So I see Joe's checking in from South Minneapolis. That's great. Um, and Tony, what are you drinking today?
I'm going back to the Avery Brewery in Colorado. You can see I got a good head start. This is their Ellie's Brown Ale. It's just a very tasty, winter brew.
Nice,
How about
nice,
you?
nice. I am drinking whiskey because it's chilly out. Need to warm up a little bit. And Annie, what are you drinking over there?
I'm drinking brandy, but it's very
Oh,
discreet. A little old school day drinker.
I like I like it. And looks like we have a Linda, my mom, tuned in from icy, snowy Connecticut. That's right. I hear you guys are getting slammed out there with the winter weather. Lynn from Greenville, South Carolina. Lynn, one of our new patrons. Hi,
Hey, Lynn.
Lynn. And we're so happy to have you all join us today. We're excited about the music today. And Annie, first of all, I want to make sure people can see. Yeah, back up to see your awesome shirt because it's pretty great. That's right. Mavis Staples, one of
I
our
said I'll
favorites.
take you there.
And you got to see her recently, right? In Florida?
Yeah, yeah. I got paid to see Mavis. I had a bid down there at the 30A Singer-Songwriter Festival, and a really beautiful lineup of iconic, legendary artists, and Mavis Staples is one of them. And I was like, I have to be at her show. I actually changed my flight to catch her show. I was supposed to head out Sunday, and I stayed because I'm like, when am I going to get to see this icon again? And it was amazing. It was a
Yeah.
spiritual experience. So
Yeah, I've seen Mavis a bunch of times. I have to say, every time it's,
yeah,
I would say the same thing. Like, and each show is different, but transformative. So, yeah, I'm very excited about that. Maybe you can use your influence, Annie, to get her on the back catalog listening party one of these days.
I'm trying. I was trying to make a connection. I was using all my might. So
I love that. Well, also, it looks like Bev has joined us from downtown Minneapolis, drinking some red wine. Good call. And yeah, we're really excited to have Annie Mack joining us today. And we are going to be revisiting her album Testify, which just celebrated its 1 year anniversary. Little baby record that has done so much great stuff. And we're going to excited to talk about it. But before we do, I want Annie to give folks a little taste of her background, where she grew up, and how she got started doing music. Because I know you didn't have maybe the most obvious path to music. So I'd love to you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to make this record.
I grew up in North Minneapolis and proud North Sider, and kind of fell into music. I don't have a formal training or background or any connection. Was not raised in the church, anything of that nature. And so I really just kind of built from the ground up, and just had the audacity to think I could sing and then charge people to pay me to perform. So maybe I'm just delusional. I don't know, but it's been a really beautiful journey and very humbling. And I wrote "Testify" for a lot of reasons, and it actually sat for a while. I worked with Matt Patrick. I came with these songs and these ideas and melodies and things of that nature in the lyrics, and went to him and had started to record, put the kind of the flesh on the skeleton, so to speak, when COVID broke out. And so that was during, what was that, like January, just December. So we were meeting, and then, everything happened. The world came to a stop, right? And so it's sad. It's sad. And on May 26th, when Mr. Floyd was murdered, I believe that's the date, I felt like, I had to say something. I wanted to speak out against, the injustice and the horrific treatment. And so I called up Matt and I said, I think if there was ever a time, and this was later on, probably about 3 days later, I reached out to him. I said, I feel like now's the time to finish this EP. I wanted to put out something that was just really beautiful and Black from Minnesota, and just to show like the solidarity, and so it's with a very somewhat heavy heart that, this bittersweetness, and then to find out another, young man of color has been, killed by the police. So it's a very interesting time, so that the message still stays the same, is to show solidarity and support, and all those things. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it does seem that these are songs that unfortunately we hope won't always feel so resonant as they do right now. But it's great music, and I think we just need to dive in, because this record is really, no joke, one of my favorite things that came out this past year, not just from Minnesota, but from anywhere. And it's been playing on repeat, and I'm excited because it's an EP. We're going to hopefully get to feature most of the songs today on the show. So folks are going to have a real treat. We're going to start off with the title track, Testify. Is there anything you want to say about the song before we dive in, or you just want to chat about it afterwards?
Real quick, Testify, it was important to have a swampy groove. And also to pay, I'm wearing my Mavis shirt to pay tribute to Mavis, because in her career, she's always used her platform to speak out about the injustice and the treatment of Black Americans, and for civil rights. And so I felt very inspired to put out a song that talked about steadfast faith, stories from the Bible that I always liked. And then just the groove kind of calls back to that, like staying steady, staying in it, very swampy, kind of gritty, kind of dirty, but still hopeful, like you're moving. So it was important to create something to encourage people to continue to move. And so if there is ever a day that I feel like, Testify is fitting, is today, so a little bit about that.
All right. Well, let's give it a listen. Agree. This is what we need right now. This is Annie Mack, Testify, here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. Well, that old devil, he went to Jesus too. He said, how you gonna eat if you ain't got no food? Now Jesus said, you better keep moving on. I say mighty full on the word alone. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You know she suffered, she was sick and tired too. with the man. She was trembling, sure enough afraid. He said, "Daughter, by your faith, you've been healed today. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you." Well, I've searched real high and I've been down low, yeah, stumbling around with nowhere to go. I've been out of my mind and my hope all gone, yeah. But for the grace, I'm here and I'm pushing on. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you. You gotta testify, tell the truth, stand on the rock of what he did for you.
All right. Annie Mack with Testify, the title track to her album of the same name. It came out just over a year ago. And yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. Everyone digging on the groove on that, Annie. And yes, Joe said he heard a little Marvin Gaye. I love, in particular, the keyboards on that. The organ sounds real sweet. Can you tell us like who's playing that and some of the different musicians who are on the record?
And Matt Patrick is really an old school producer in the sense that he is able to create, hear the vision and create it himself. And if you can't do it, he brings in the right people. So it's actually Matt Patrick on the keys, my co-producer, producer mentor. Aaron Fibrini on the bass, so he has this really beautiful rolling sound. Noah Levy on the drums and percussion. We use this big shaker to kind of get that kind of weird, resounding, just like deep, full but hollow sound. And then we also had Jeremy Ulislacker on the guitar, and so it was a small and mighty crew for that song. But just it was really about the vibe. It was capturing that vibe and like, what does steadfast sound like? What does like staying in the course sound like? And if I had to put it, that would be it. Just kind of. And it was meant to be. This was not a vocal acrobatic. It was to tell the story and to be accessible. I always say I'm a blue collar vocalist. Like I really focus on telling the story and making the connection. So it was meant to be accessible. Kind of like in that Mavis Staples tradition. Sometimes like you just want to talk to people. You want to. It's not about like listen to how many runs or listen to what I can do. However, but speaking of a vocal amazing, master vocalist, to have Tanya Hughes on there and Sarah Renner and Tanya Hughes, if you've ever, the chills, in the studio, like, and she's like, okay, what do you think about this? Or what do you, and I just was like, I don't know. They're all wonderful. Just do I have to pick, So it was very humbling to kind of tell the story of the woman who was ill, who suffered just that fear and trepidation and being so tired that you're like, this is it, And I feel like people can relate to that no matter what their religious background is, you know.
Yeah, and when you say that, sort of telling that story, was there someone specific you had in mind about this song, or was it more just you know thinking of a character?
You know, I think about women. I think about women who have kind of had faith for me when I've not had it. Strong women, in particular, a friend of mine, you know, was Jessa, who ended up Jessa Roque, with Gambler's daughter, who ended up passing away from cancer, from liver cancer, and I just thought about watching her own, you know, being able to walk alongside her a little bit in her journey, and really like experiencing the isolation of loneliness and being sick, you know, sick and tired, and being in a space of, you know, witnessing her desire to live in her tenacity and her faith of understanding that no matter what happened to her in this world, that things would work out as they're supposed to be for her children, for her legacy. So it took on a very different meaning to actually have a friend that kind of embodied, you know, who was looking for a miracle, looking for, you know, um, something to happen. And so I dedicate that song to her, you know, a lot when I perform. I feel her presence, you know, with that song. So yeah.
Yeah, I for those of you who don't know, Jessa Roque is a was a wonderful songwriter, musician from the Twin Cities area who had a band named Gambler's Daughter, and again, she passed away just about a year ago, and had several kids, and was just one of the brightest lights. I mean, just one of the most generous musicians and people, and always went to other people's shows, and we'll make sure to put a link to her music in the comments as well. And also, I want to have a special shout. You mentioned that whenever you sing it, you think of Jessa, and I want to mention that Jocelyn put in the comments that she was at the show at the 331 Club this past Monday in Minneapolis, where you and Mary Cutcherfellow played, and then I also played a set. So thanks for being there, Jocelyn. It was a really fun night.
Yeah.
And that song you were talking about, that you really wanted sort of the groove and the storytelling, and you mentioned that you didn't have formal vocal training. This is something you came to later. You didn't grow up in a musical family, but I know that you listened to a lot of records growing up. So tell us a little bit about those influences. Obviously, we hear the Mavis and some of that stuff, but what other kind of music did you listen to growing up?
You know, I listen to you know, I a lot of people know my background. I share about my mother and us being very humble, very poor. But we had a lot of books, and we had a record player that kind of offered us, you know, we couldn't afford to go on trips or vacation or things of that nature, but this music took us all around the world through all different decades and era and stylistic, you know, genres. So I grew up listening to a lot of country, a lot of old country western, a lot of jazz, a lot of classical music, a lot of pop music, a lot of very eclectic mix of music, and just being inspired. So at this festival. It was really neat to see these iconic women like Ricky Lee Jones. I grew up on Ricky Lee Jones and Mavis Staples and Emmy Lou here. It was very like, wow, you know, this is the music I grew up on. This is what I listened to, you know, and was inspired by. So my love is just all kinds of music and finding the connections. The connections. I think country, especially country western from 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s, had a really solid connection to soul music. And African Americans, you know, kind of stealing licks from each other, and, you know, going to kind of steal the best players. And so you hear all these cool stories about integration, you know, and music, because people wanted to play with the best, and they wanted to have that sound. And the blues cats, you know, digging the country and vice versa. So, um, and even bluegrass. I grew up listening to a lot of bluegrass. So it's been a really beautiful gift that I love that people can call me up to go to any show or and just be like, I think you'll like this, like, okay, I'm there. And so they don't just call me for one. It's like, so that was a really good part of growing up. That's what kind of inspired me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and you can hear all those different influences, especially on this record, which I feel like is more of a blend of roots music of different styles. I know you kind of came up through the blues world, and so a lot of folks know you as a blues singer, but I feel like what's special about this EP, aside from the really wonderful storytelling that you had talked about, is that you kind of mix these different styles. So we're going to hear that as we play the different tracks. So let's dig in to hear more of that. So this next one is Get on the Train. Is there anything you want to say about that?
Excuse me. Get on a Train is just a really fun and just, messing with stuff. Sorry about that. I just wanted to capture a little bit of soul music, really focus on that kind of stats where it was just like the rhythm, like it's not this, it just kind of, these really cool nuances. And so I wanted something that was kind of low soul, chicken scratching, if you will, and just real simple. This is not a guitar driven. It was really important for me kind of stepping away from the blues realm to really focus on my vocals and telling the story. So the instrumentation, there's not a lot of lead instrumentation. It's really meant to just be a cohesive presentation with really cool happenings. So you'll hear that, that we didn't kind of guitar it out or anything like that. It was just like keep it kind of sparse.
All right, well, let's get on the train. This is Annie Mack here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Your restless spirit won't let you sleep. Divine appointment you need to keep. You have a gift the ancestors say. Make haste, brother, be on your way. Your dreams won't make themselves come true. Don't let your doubts set a trap for you. Just get on the train and don't look back. There's a freedom waiting on the tracks. Stuck between desires and fears. You know your calling's greater than here. You have a gift, the wise ones say. Make haste, sister, be on your way. Go to the mountains, down to the sea. Tell everybody so they believe. Just get on the train and don't look back. Just get on the train and don't look back. Just get on the train. Do the work for you. If you don't try, you never know. Pack up your life and get on the road. Just get on the train and don't look back. Just get on the train. Get on the train. Oh, yeah.
that was Annie Mack with Get on the Train from her album Testify, which just celebrated its 1 year anniversary. Happy birthday, Testify. And that song, man, it got everyone moving.
Yeah.
Certainly we were bobbing around. And Joe asked if there was a little nod to Bo Diddley in there.
Yes, 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 yes. It was absolutely like I'm like, you know, I was thinking like I haven't heard that reference in a long time. Like, when's the last time you heard a good kind of Bo Diddley, like, rockabilly music or, but just to hear it, I'm like, oh, that'd be really cool. So absolutely that was the inspiration. And I wrote the song from the perspective at that time I was kind of getting to know Taj Mahal and, touching, connecting with him. And I thought, man, I would love to write the song from a perspective of an elder, someone who's kind of done it, talking to a younger person, or just encouraging a person to just go for it regardless. And so that's the inspiration. And also talking to myself, but it really was like, what do you got to lose? Like, go for it.
Yeah.
Well, it's really beautifully recorded album. I was on that last track, especially. I was hearing, a lot of kind of stereo details. We had like a Telecaster over here, and some really cool, like, just big chords on a piano, and there's a lot going on. I'm kind of a geek when it comes to this kind of stuff. I'd love to know where you recorded it. Who was sitting behind the board, if there was a producer, any of those details you could share with us would be great.
Matt Patrick, and just to be clear, Jessa Roque, when I actually heard her album, I was interested in working with him as a producer because he's a really seasoned producer. He hears things and he knows how to find the groove and find the vibe to match the artist and to challenge you. So that's him. That's all I would have to say, Matt. Those nuances and just kind of that sound. He has a sound.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was, working with him and being able to explore and the kind of, so yeah, that was him.
And I should say that Matt Patrick, his studio is called The Library. It's here in Minneapolis. And again, lots of really great projects, especially for a lot of like singer-songwriters.
Yeah, he has a way with really bringing out, because I'm a low end vocalist, and so that's always been kind of a not an issue, but just like how do I really, I think of like a Cassandra Wilson or a Mavis Staples, or I tend to like more obscure Etta James, later in life. So being a low end vocalist, it's like, oh, I really want to focus on vocals and kind of bring me up because I always get lost in the mix. So you know exactly what to do with me.
Yeah,
It's-
you don't.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, you don't get lost in that mix. That sounded real sweet.
Yeah, and it seems like a good time to let people know that, what you're hearing right now through the pipes of the internet is nothing close to what we're hearing in our headphones right now. It sounds really, really good. And we're just gonna encourage everybody to check this music out. You can go to anniemackmusic.com/music. And hear for yourself the high resolution version of this. It sounds really good, and it goes a long way to supporting artists to purchase their CDs and to help spread the word because it's a really important messages in these songs.
Indeed. And Annie, do you also have CD copies of this as well? Is it digital?
I do. I love the artwork so much, and I wanted to just honor that and offer some old school CDs for people to put in their cars or their computers, and I just love the artwork so much. So Shelly Mosman captured this photo, and Natalie DeGrand actually did a lot of the artwork on there
Yeah,
for practice and such. So
I
yeah,
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
yeah. Chris was actually commenting on that earlier, and I'd love to know a little bit more about the inspiration behind this artwork because it has a lot of cool things going on in it.
A lot of imagery. Yeah.
yeah. I just wanted to show the symbolic, like it was important to show sovereignty and the strength of that, but then also kind of have these like rebellious, like I didn't want it to be passive. A lot of the saints that you see, or a lot of the depictions of especially female, like very passive, very docile, and I wanted to have this like kind of smirk, like keep my edge on North Side, right? So I want to
That's a
respect.
boss pose right there.
Yeah, I want to respect being North Side and having a cigar. Say give no fucks, if you will. And so that kind of was this. That was the inspiration, behind that. So excuse me, but it was really like I'm here and I put in some time, and I'm not going to be apologetic for being a Black woman, for taking up space, for various things. So it's a very in your face. And I also wanted something really beautiful and to show that, sovereignty embodied. So it was important to capture that and then have an edge to it. And so Shelley Mosman was just a really great artist to work with who captured that kind of dark beauty, if you will.
Yeah, and you could own this beautiful piece of art. Head on over to anniemackmusic.com/music, and you can have your own physical version. I know not a lot of people are putting the CDs in, but those CD cases still look really good on your wall. And I think this one would sound better in the CD player too.
Yeah, for sure. And this also seems appropriate then to go to this next song, because you're talking about sovereignty. And this next song is Shadows of a Kingdom, which has my favorite refrain of all time, "It ain't easy being queen." So I'd love to hear a little bit more about the background of this song and what inspired it.
Luckily there's a lot of different, I have so many different inspirations for the songs. I get to go in between, like what feels good today. But it really just, there's this big component about, as a woman, I think in our society, the expectation to make miracles happen, and stepping into that sovereignty. My daughter at the time, there was a time where she was having a lot of like mental health struggles, and she really needed to learn that, her worth and who she is and being beautiful and loved right where she was at. And just kind of, I wasn't able to step in and make it okay for her. I think it was one of the first times that she had to really draw upon her strength, knowing that I was there to support her, but that she was going to be okay and to get through it. It's almost like a refining, and just talking about like the imagery of burning down that kingdom, burning, it's like you got to kill the beast and pardon the fools, and that's what I find in my journey as a woman and going through this life. You're gonna have to let a lot of fools go, but the things that need to be taken out, you gotta take them out. So there's just a lot of reference, in the song, but it really is just about empowerment and stepping into who we fully are.
Excellent. Well, let's give it a listen. This is Shadows of a Kingdom, Annie Mack here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Annie
Mm.
Mack here on the back catalog listening party with Shadows of a Kingdom from her album Testify, which just turned a year old, but it's back catalog and officially, I think, once it's a year old. And we're happy to revisit it today with Annie Mack joining us from Rochester, Minnesota. And that song, like so many of the ones we've heard on the show today, Annie, are like, again, it feels like you either in this case talking to your daughter, but in many of the instances maybe talking to yourself. I feel like they're all kind of songs of encouragement, which I think is so special and important right now. I mean, with this has been a week in terms of news in the world, and of course, right here in Minneapolis, as you mentioned earlier, it's been a lot of things that don't seem to change and keep happening. And I think a lot of us, it's easy to uh, feel trodden down. And I feel like these songs are really, at least for me, helping me today, like words of encouragement. I don't know if that's how you intended it, but
Absolutely. It was, it was tough for me to, you feel so helpless. I feel so helpless um, with the current situation with the MPD and, police force across, like the severity and thinking about this album, this EP, and what initially started off as one thing, but ended up going for, stepping into another realm. It's like, it's just, it's just incredible. It's just really hard for me to wrap my head around it. So to stay encouraged and to stay in a space for change and for accountability and for justice is not easy. But when I think about it and I listen to my music and various other music and deeper than that, but it's just like can't be silenced. Even in the wake in the face of murder, intimidation, harassment, fear. We cannot be silenced. And so every time I step on stage or go somewhere where I know I'm not going to be welcome, and it still happens, and I know that my life is at risk, and that's still a very real thing, I hold on to that. I hold on to truth and the purpose that this is not just about entertainment. This is a revolution. This is joy. This is Black joy. This is Black, solidarity. This is community. This is, so it takes on a deeper meaning for me and makes me stop in my tracks and remind me of like, it's not about the performance or being the best, or it serves a deeper purpose. And I feel very thankful to be called to that and to step into that. It's not always been easy. So, right.
yeah. And I think that this is another good reminder to tell folks that one of the things that you can do that is so important is to actually support artists and Black artists who are making this music that makes a difference and gives amplifies the voices that we need to hear on a more regular basis. So this is your chance to purchase Annie's music and make that happen. Support one of our great artists here in Minnesota, making something beautiful, Black, joyous, revolutionary, all those things that we need. And I should also mention that she is busy touring this year. Luckily, things are somewhat back. And again, she was just in Florida playing with all those big stars we were talking about earlier, Mavis Staples, Emmylou Harris, Ricky Lee Jones. But she'll be playing in all over Minnesota and Wisconsin this year. Let's see, Red Wing, Duluth, Mankato tomorrow, Grand Rapids, Hudson, Wisconsin. So you can check out her tour dates at anniemackmusic.com. And I again, if you get a chance to catch Annie live, whether it's with a band or whether it's with Mary Cutcherfellow joining her on guitar, it's always a joyous and powerful experience. So just want to put that out there for folks. And also, I want to let folks know that if you have questions, comments, any of that, please put them in there and we'll make sure to get to them before the end of today's show while we have Annie Mack joining us. So thank you so much for being here, Annie. And I think we have time for both of the last two tunes from the record. This song is called Judge and Jury. Is there anything you want to say about it?
First of all, thank you so much for having me, and I'm so so humbled. Honored. The thing that I wrote was more for me to the movement project, and just felt really humbled to add to that. And so, really great song. Sarah Morris is just a fantastic songwriter, and I wanted to talk about something that I consider to be kind of outlaw, like how dare a woman talk about her own body, and how dare she talk about her own rights and things of that nature. So I wanted to tell a story, kind of have an outlaw country vibe to it, and so.
Excellent. And if you missed the first part, I know Annie broke up a little bit in there. She was talking about this Me Too Minneapolis project, and we'll put a link in the comments about that so folks can check that out. But this is her contribution, which is also on Testify. It's called Judge and Jury.
I know you think I'm telling lies. I can see it in your eyes. You don't believe what I say is true. How dare I make decisions without your supervision? I must be some kind of fool. You get all up in arms, wanna do my spirit harm, trying your best to shame me. Busy praying for a flood so you can drag me through the mud, trying to hide my humanity. You're not the judge and jury of me. You're not the judge and jury of me. You talk of compassion as if it must come in rations. I see you with your nose up in the air, hell bent on saving me with all your false humility. Where were you when I had my cross to bear? You're not the judge and jury of me. 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 Don't waste your time playing God. Oh, I met her at the bus stop. Through a cloud of smoke, I swear I heard her say, don't waste your time playing God. Oh, I met her at the bus stop. Through a cloud of smoke, I swear I heard her say, I bet you're tired, 'cause I am tired, but not be tired, not too tired to fight. I bet you're tired, 'cause I am tired, not be tired, not too tired to fight. You can have your opinion, but you just can't have my rights. You're not the judge and jury of me. 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 You're not the judge, jury of me.
And that was Annie Mack with Judge and Jury from her album Testify, which we've been featuring today on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Annie Mack joining us from Rochester, Minnesota. And I love that line. You can have your opinions, but not my rights. That's just perfect.
Yeah, that's Sarah Morris. We were trying to figure out like how can we have a little bit of diplomacy, but keep it real about how autonomy looks and choices and things of that nature, and then calling out the religious people and the people who think it's okay to not offer support and love in a very trying time, just that judgment, and so.
Yeah. And for those of you who might have missed that earlier, again, written with Sarah Morris, who was a past guest here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. Also, Chris asked if he can purchase a CD, and we said, oh, sorry, Annie. And we said, yes, you can buy a CD, but Chris was wondering where he could buy it since he didn't see it on your website.
Yeah, you can actually, I do have merch. And you can go to Electric Fetus. I actually think they still have CDs at Electric Fetus. So that would be really, really cool if you want to go purchase.
Okay. So Chris actually is a local. So he can definitely pick it up at the Electric Fetus. And we also maybe on Bandcamp. Can they buy a CD on Bandcamp?
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp. My website. Bandcamp Friday is the best. I think that's what's going on today.
Yeah. 100% of sales go to artists.
Absolutely. That would just be lovely today.
Okay, we'll make sure to get that link up there too to folks, and that's the Electric Fetus website as well. Again, if you just tuned into the Back Catalog Listening Party, we are being joined by Annie Mack from Rochester, talking about this album Testify, which we are digging so much. And one of the things, Annie, that I really love about this project, we were talking about how it feels like it's talking about again, it lifts us up. Even in these dark times, these are songs that kind of keep you motivated, keep you moving. And I would love to know, Annie, what's kept you moving this past year and a half? I know with everything in the world and the pandemic, what has kept you moving during this year?
Well, you, Ellen, you're one of the people who I'm so grateful is a warrior for, original artists, is an ally for Black artists and Black people. And I'm so grateful for that. Just understanding, I think, having a piece about where my energy gets to go and how that shows up, and just standing on who I am, understanding that it's okay to not jump for everything. It's okay to have standards and boundaries, and trust that opportunities will come as they're supposed to, that I don't have to sell myself, compromise in order to work or have make a living. And I can't tell you the feeling that it gets to be hired to be me. I don't hold back when I say anything. I'm pretty upfront. People know what they're getting into. So I can't be anybody else, but I'm very grateful that, there's a respect for that. So I keep on with the hope of understanding that change is happening, that justice is here, that community is coming back together, taking back things that have been lost or taken away, or, just kind of that reconvening of community and purpose and intention, and being neighbors and, looking out for each other. So a lot of things, my children, baby Stan, he keeps me going. He's such a sweetie. But, just a lot of hope and seeing the humanity and the accountability, understanding that people, those who do want to change, they want to understand what my experience is like. They want to, that conversation on honesty, has been so various things have kept me going that I'm really grateful. And of course, the music, the people, so many things.
Yeah.
Well, this certainly is helping keep me going. Hearing your music today, and we did find some links that folks can go purchase this and keep it going, because it's a difficult time, and music is a special way of communicating stories and a special way to create dialogue with people. And we really appreciate you putting your music out and doing and saying what you're saying.
Yeah. And in that vein, we want to make sure to squeeze in this last song because it's a good one. And I'd love, it's called Walkin Around. And Annie, is there anything you want to say about it before we take a listen?
I just want to say Stephen Kong's a man. He's beautiful. He came up with those horn parts, came in and said, I got this idea like, with Matt Patrick. And we were like, man, we really did this vibe. It's like this 60s kind of soul, California. I said, I think in these brassy Spanish, mariachi horns. Like I hear that, like a call and response. And so, Stephen came in, such a phenomenal player, and could hear the harmony and lay down also the majesticness on Shadows of a Kingdom too. And just a kind of like, I love the musicianship on this song. I love listening to it. It's just so many really good nuances that you can't, catch at first. But it's about loving yourself, writing a love song about oneself. Like, we hear love songs about everybody else. I thought it'd be really cool just write something about me, and just honoring my dream truthfully.
All right. A song about loving yourself, which we can all appreciate. So we'll send this as a big hug to all of you out there. This is Walkin Around, Annie Mack here on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
My head in the clouds. I ain't never had no love, but it sure feels right. So tired of feeling lost in my own mind. I'm embracing this love, and I'm loving my time. Digging what I see, I'm no longer afraid. I feel the rain fall upon my face. I can't help but smile, 'cause I know that I've changed. And now I'm not gonna run, I'm not gonna hide, I'm just gonna let it be. It's time to stop fighting, time to stop denying, time I just start to believe. I'm not giving my energy no more to what no longer serves me. So I'm choosing to let go of the shame that's been all over me. 'Cause each day that I wake, I will choose to embrace all that life has dealt me, and I'm not afraid.
Yeah, those sunny horns right there. That was Walking Around, Annie Mack here on the back catalog listening party from her album Testify, which we've been revisiting with Annie Mack today. And you were talking about those, yeah, California mariachi horns. Yeah, it brought the sunshine to me today in a big, big way. So
Yeah, me
thank you for
too.
that.
Yeah, what we needed.
Yeah. And I especially, any of you watching the show on YouTube, some of you might just be listening, but if you are watching, you'll see that I've been singing along to every song today on the show because I'm a big fan of this record and a big fan of Annie's. And if you haven't gotten this record, you need to. That's all I'm going to say. Really good stuff.
Well, you're
And
amazing. Mother Banjo, Ellen.
well, thank you.
So I'm just very grateful for you and Anthony, and yeah, that's it.
Oh,
No.
well, again, you are what make this show. The music,
Absolutely.
the guests, and again, if you want to support Annie, you can throw something in the tip jar. You can buy a physical copy of her record at the Electric Fetus if you live here in the Twin Cities, or by going to Bandcamp today. She gets 100% of the proceeds, as do all artists. So this is, if you're on Bandcamp and you want to shop for other music while you're there, do it. It's a great way to support musicians, which is so important. And actually, Lynn, who I think is in South Carolina, Lynn, I can't remember. She said she's on the Electric Fetus website ordering it now. So,
All
you know,
right.
you don't have to live locally to buy it from the Fetus. So
That's right.
pretty
And
cool.
our friend Chris Jetner got a copy too. Keep it going, people.
Yeah, this is what keeps the music happening, and is by supporting musicians directly whenever you can. So,
Absolutely.
and we want to thank Annie for being here on the show with us today. And again, we've had a few technical issues, so thanks for hanging in with us because, man, the conversation, the music has been so special today. And we will have this available of course, it will be up on YouTube, so you can share it with friends if you want to share the music. And also, you can like it on YouTube, send more bots to Annie Mack's music. And on our website, for those of you who don't know, we archive all of our shows at backcatalog.listeningparty.com. Not just with the YouTube link, but we include links to other artists we mentioned, like we mentioned Jessica Roque. We'll mention the library, the studio where she recorded it, all those things. We like to include those in the show notes, so you can check that out as well, so if you don't already know that. And again, Annie Mack, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. It was such a treat. And you can support Annie Mack's music by and checking out her shows.
Anthony. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being here. And we also want to thank all our Patreon supporters, because this is how this show keeps going from week to week. We started this in March of 2020. Thought it would be like a couple months of just hanging out with our favorite artists until things opened up. But, here we are. 96th episode, Tony?
Yeah,
And,
96.
And so, but
We
it's all
couldn't do
because
it without you folks.
And these are our
tuning in.
newest patrons. Lynn, who just bought that Annie Mack CD. Thank you, Lynn.
Hey, Lynn.
Craig and Jake. Jake just joined last week. Thank you so much for coming on board. And, of course, all of our patrons who keep the show going. Penny, Ann, Alinda, Bevan, Connie, Vaughn, Alan, Chris, Alex, Becky, Galen, Peggy, Joe, Jim, Beverly, John, Fred, Tim, Sarah, David, Jocelyn, Court, Matt, Steve, Mark, Homestead Pick and Parlor, and Severin, Lynn, Craig, and Jake. Thank you so much, all of you. These are the folks that keep the show going from week to week. And if you want to get on board, join the party, keep it rolling a little longer, you can go to our Patreon website, which is on the screen. We'll put it in the show notes too.
Yeah.
Joe, thank you so much. He said another one, great one, guys. We appreciate it.
Agreed. And thanks to Annie for being here. Annie, thank you so much. This really is, when the pandemic started 2 years ago, we knew that music would get us through this. And as things continue to be difficult, and I think that might be the case for a while, not just with the pandemic, but all this other stuff that we're dealing with and everything else. Music is what keeps me going personally. And I think a lot of you folks out there, and it's the community, that you are able to bring together with your music, and that's what is really gonna make change. And we really appreciate you bringing people together with your music and being here today on our show, Annie. Thank you.
And again, and thank you so much for hanging in there. And thanks, Annie. I know that you were struggling with some technical things, so we appreciate you hanging in there and being with us. And again, if you get a chance to catch Annie live, do it. Just do it, because it's worth it, and you can hear her testify in person. For all of you out there listening, thank you so much for being with us, and have a wonderful week. Cheers. And until next week. Oh, actually, not next week. We're going to take a week off next week. I forgot. Tony is gigging. I'm on vacation. And so we will take a week off. But we'll be back in 2 weeks with Lonesome Dan Case. So thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. And I also want to say that we have a big milestone coming up on the show. We're almost into triple digits on the show. And again, we owe it to all of you out there for that. And we have something big planned for you. So stay tuned. And we really appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, Annie. Cheers.
Cheers.